What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday. That means it is time for the life of an entrepreneur. I am so glad that you are here to join me. We have a great guest that we're going to be talking to today. All of the guests are great, right? I'm especially excited, excuse me, to talk to our guest today. And so listen, as always, we need you to buckle up. We need you to strap in. We need you to share this with somebody who is either an entrepreneur or is looking to get into this entrepreneurial life, because this is the place where we get to hear, understand, and live vicariously through the guests that come into this space. This is the place where you get to see the life of an entrepreneur. Let's get into it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think this deserves some applause. We're back. We're back. We're back. It's Tuesday. That means it's time for the life of an entrepreneur. I am your host, Oliver Marcel, author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building and men's empowerment spaces, passionate about doing what is on my t-shirt. My t-shirt says 2020 before hindsight. There are so many things that I learned in hindsight, mistakes that I made, things that just threw off the trajectory of my life. And as such, it is my goal, it is my passion, it is my calling to help somebody gain at least some level of clarity on the front end before they do something, say something, hang with somebody, make a decision that could throw off the trajectory of their lives. And I talk about it in a book called Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best Despite What He Was Taught. Listen, in the description, you can find out how to get the t-shirt, and the book is on Amazon. I would love your support in that way. We got a great guest today, folks. We got a great guest. I'm looking forward to talking to Karen Bashford today. And we got some folk already in the comments. Mike Hatch is here. Good morning, my bro, Mike Hatch. Good to be here. Great to be here. Thank you for being here. We got the fallible man in the house. Listen, the fallible man, phenomenal. Brent, how you doing, man? Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. You being here. Farron George is in the house. My guy, what's happening, man? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here today for this episode. Georgia is here. Hey ho. I love it. We got folk from all over the globe checking in today. That is awesome. Brent says it's a great book. Thank you so much for your endorsement, man. I love that. I love that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We got some folk in the house. Now, listen, please forgive me. If I mess this up, don't shoot me. I'm gonna try it though. It's I'm not gonna try. Akanksha. Ah! Thank you for being here. I love that you are here. Thank you for being here. Love the setup. Thank you for that. Listen, we can talk about the setup and how we can replicate that for you as well. Big up to all the authors. That's right. I know you would say that, Georgia. Georgia is phenomenal at helping authors do what they do best. And Mike says, "What's up, brother?" Listen, let's get into this. As you know, typically I always have a few words that I'd like to say. And oh man, bingo! I did. Listen, that deserves applause, because I don't always get it right. So thank you for being here. Listen, as always, I say a few words before our guest comes in. And here's what I have to say today. This is more for individuals that are looking to build a team around what they do, looking to bring in some folk to help undergird and support the vision that they've established. And there are a few things that I want to bring out that I want you to be mindful of when you are working with a team. Now, this, even if you don't have a team, but you have to work with other individuals, these are some things that you need to really be cognizant of. One is emphasize empathy and understanding. You got to encourage the folk around you, whether it's your team, whether it's your family. You have to encourage each person to consider the perspectives of the other person, because building empathy helps in resolving conflict. And I'm big on that. If anybody who knows me knows that I am big on communicating on an extraordinary level, recognizing, managing, and recovering from conflict in record time, and building holistic, intimate bonds on the personal side, and very teams that have extreme synergy on the corporate side, right? So emphasize empathy and understanding. That is key. Remember that. The other thing that I want you to do is to be able to encourage diverse viewpoints. We are in a age now where we stand on our position so strongly that it is at the expense of building healthy relationships. It's at the expense of fostering synergy because we're so busy defending our position. Here's something that I would like to encourage you to do. I'm not saying don't defend your position. I'm not saying not to have an opinion. What I'm saying is be open enough to have your perspective expanded. Now, there's a very significant difference between having your perspective expanded and having your mind changed. I'm not talking about necessarily you having to change your mind. I'm talking about you being open to hearing somebody else's thoughts, seeing something through somebody else's eyes, allowing that to expand your perspective in a way that causes some very holistic things to happen around your communication, around your engagement, around your involvement with that person. So, first thing, emphasize, if I can talk, empathy and understanding. Second thing is to encourage diverse viewpoints. And this is strictly for the leaders. Lead by example. Lead by example. In my book, Overcoming the Man Laws, I have this phrase, it describes a lesson that I've learned throughout my time in life, and it is that leadership sometimes looks like more like maintenance man than CEO. Let me say that again. Leadership sometimes looks more like maintenance man than CEO. What do I mean by that? If you think about the CEO, the top down mentality, if you think about the maintenance man, the guy who is the one who is really maintaining the facility, as a leader, you need to be able to do both of those and do them both effectively. You need to be able to lead by example. So there's some things that you're going to have to do in the way of maintaining the facilities, maintaining the culture, maintaining the environment, maintaining the morale. And you're going to have to do that by example. So I got several things I can list here, and maybe one day I'll throw them on LinkedIn so that everybody can see that. But I'll say it again: emphasize empathy and understanding, encourage diverse viewpoints, and lead by example. That's what I have for you today before we have our guest on. Georgia said, yes, be open to ideas and opinions across the board. That is so incredibly important. So listen, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. We have today Karen Bashford. Listen, Karen is an intuitive mentor. Karen is a phenomenal coach, transformational coach. Karen is a speaker. Karen is a author. Karen is I can keep going, do this for the rest of the show, and you'll never even get to hear Karen. So instead of me doing that, without further ado, let me bring on my friend, Karen Bashford.
I love it. Thank you.
Karen, it is good to have you here. Thank you for being here, Karen. It is my pleasure to have this conversation with you. Listen, just full transparency for those that are watching, Karen and I have had several conversations before in the past, and they've all been enlightening. You cannot walk away from a conversation with Karen without some level of enlightenment. It just is in her. It just kind of comes out of her, even if you don't want it to. It just is who she is, right? So thank you, Karen, for being here. Listen, we got folk that are talking wisdom in the house. Yes, indeed. Wisdom is in the house. Fallible Man said, jump into LinkedIn. This is where the conversation is happening. All right, come on over, bro. Come on over to LinkedIn. We're here and ready and waiting for you. Karen, listen, before we get into the conversation, I know I shared, you know, some very some words, some single words. But tell us who is Karen Bashford? Who are you? And what do you do?
Who's Karen Bashford? Good question. Karen is a woman who's on a mission to educate and empower women who in turn empower their children.
Mm.
Because I hate to say it, but women spend more time with their children than the men presently. And it's the woman that passes on the same behaviors that's been passed down through the generations. So you change a woman, you change future generations.
Wow. Can we sit on that for a second? If you change women, you change future generations. That's powerful.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay, keep going. I just had to let
You
that
know
one
what
settle
I'm
for a
like.
second.
You know what I'm like. Come up with all kinds of things. Okay, so Karen, apart from being passionate, um, is a kind of woman who says their own mind, has strong boundaries, and very much believes that everyone has the ability to create the life that they want. And that is from my own experience. I wasn't. Well, actually, I was, but I was making mistakes,
Hmm.
making judgments that didn't serve me because I did not know that I was managing my own life through my thoughts and my feelings and my reactions. Now I know that, I actively choose to listen to my own intuition, my own team of wisdom that's around me in the sense of my guides and, believe it or not, universal knowledge and wisdom.
I love it. I love it, and I can attest to the fact that it comes out in how you interact with individuals and the value that you share, the wisdom that you provide, is yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. Now, you already know what I'm going to ask, right? I always want to hear a backstory. Anybody who's ever been around me, who's ever been in any kind of interview with me, knows that I'm going to try to go back and take it back. So, we're talking about the life of an entrepreneur. That life has to begin somewhere. So, what's the backstory? What's the story that takes you from where you were into this journey that you currently are on now?
Where do I start? Two abusive relationships, parents who unfortunately couldn't tell me they loved me or hugged me, and the realization that I was responsible for my own life and I created my own outcomes. And I didn't I didn't enjoy working in companies in the corporate world. I'm naturally in numerology a number one, which is a free thinker. It's somebody who has their own opinions and likes to do their own thing. That's me. And I chose to do my own thing. After working for a bank for 20 years, doing other various secretarial kind of work, admin work, bookkeeping, and such like, I set up my own secretarial business, run it successfully for 5 years, and then realized I didn't like working with computers.
Mm.
5 years. And it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I working with computers? I prefer people. So I retrained as a hypnotherapist, an LP practitioner. I'm also a Reiki master. I've done other various modalities around healing and such like. And using my own personal experiences, having been physically ill with life threatening illnesses, having lost my home, having been homeless as well, not just losing my home for financial reasons, but I've actually been physically homeless, went camping to compensate for having no home. um, I chose to follow my own path again and become a coach.
Mm.
And I love it. I get to speak to some amazing people who have been through their own challenges, but with the wisdom and knowledge and trust in my own guides, I'm able to take people from being here to there very rapidly. In actual fact, in 90 minutes sometimes.
Wow. I read that in your description. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Listen, I before you keep going, I really want to pull something out here. You said that you were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You lost your home and you were homeless. There are so many people on this journey called entrepreneurship that experience some level of pain and hardship that now becomes the fuel, if you will, for their passion, the thing that drives them, the thing that shoots them into their destiny, so to speak. What did you and I'm asking this for a reason because I want people to hear what needs to happen from a mental space. What did you have to do in order to move from a place of homelessness and everything that that may encompass to now being able to provide extreme transformation for others? What's some of the work you had to do?
Go back. Go back to the times that I was in control of my life but wasn't. To the healing I needed for being wounded, traumatized by the fact as a child I wasn't physically held, I wasn't physically told that my parents loved me. Going back to the space of my two partners, first my husband and then a long-term partner, where I recognized that I had them in my life because I was looking for love, but it was the wrong kind of love. It was the love that I did not know. That was what I was looking for. And because the love I knew was one of basically trauma and neglect, I sought partners that reflected that. So there's always a reason for things to happen. And it's a reflection of what you believe, your energy, and how you perceive yourself, and whether you trust yourself and love yourself. And
Mm,
to do that, you have to know yourself. And to anyone, the best thing you can possibly do is to know yourself.
that's good. That's good. Listen, I'm tempted to ask you some questions that would most certainly take us into a coaching session, but that costs money. So we won't go too deep because we want folk to come to you for that transformation. But on a serious note, I do want to say this around knowing yourself. You bring up a really great point, and and here's the thing. There, I believe, and please give me your input on this. I believe that there are some experiences, there's some work that's done on the front end of this journey, this life of an entrepreneur, that allow you to know yourself to the point where you're able to leap into this space. Then I believe once you're on this journey, like any other journey, if I drive from, I'm in Maryland, if I drive from Maryland to California, I can't predict what's going to happen when I'm in the Midwest, right? So there are some experiences along the journey that will also give cause to me learning some things about who I am or expanding my perspective in a certain way. Have you noticed that in your journey as well?
Certainly. Having run my own secretarial business, that was something that I did simply because I was made redundant because of 9/11. And it was like there were so many other people looking for work, and I looked at the situation and thought, I don't want to go back into that environment where somebody else is constantly telling me what to do. And it was, what could I do instead? And I had all this experience of working in a bank, working with computers as an admin and payroll and things like that. And it was an obvious choice to go into secretarial stroke, you know, basically being a PA and a salesperson and everything else. So it was diving in and just starting. You either, as an entrepreneur, choose to just dive in and learn along the way, or your other option is to investigate and to learn before you dive in. Personally, depending on circumstances, if you can investigate, research, then make your decisions as to whether entrepreneurship is right for you or not. Because there's a myth around when you're an entrepreneur, you have more time with family, that you have more time to do the things you want. It's an absolute myth. If anything, you have far less time. You're always on call in the sense of something happens, you have to be on it. You do not get a chance to step back and say, somebody else can deal with it. You have to deal with it.
That's good. Listen, you're giving advice, which you taking us to the end of the show, but I'm not letting you go just yet. So you
You
jump
know
to the
what
end
I'm
and
like.
started giving advice, but we can't let you go just yet. We need to hear some more. So now that you're in this space, you have gone through significant challenges. You have overcome those challenges. You have learned from that experience. You have that has fueled a passion in you to help others to transform in a very rapid way from the things that they are experiencing. What is what is and not to give away too much, obviously, because we need to pay you for this. But what is maybe the first thing that someone would need to do to really open themselves up for the kind of transformation that you provide?
What would be the first thing? Okay. To me, it's awareness of what you believe about yourself.
Okay.
I'm very open with this. I'm more than happy to just talk about awareness. If you do not bother to listen what you say about yourself, listen to what you say to others about yourself, listen in the sense of your body always communicates. So your body always tells you when something is wrong.
Hmm.
Choosing to ignore what your body is telling you is actually ignoring yourself,
Mm.
because your soul, body, mind, not mind, body, soul. Your body plays a big part in how you react to situations that then has an impact on what you create in your life.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just thinking about I'm I'm being selfish a little bit here. This is about the audience, but I'm kind of thinking about myself as you say that. And yeah, that's good because, and the reason why I asked you that is because often as individuals that are looking for transformation, we know or we think we know what we want as an end result, but we have absolutely no way how to map from where we are to that. And understanding what a good starting point is, I think is beneficial because I would imagine that gives you now a sense of purpose, even if you don't know. Like I tell some of my clients all the time that you don't have to know how it's going to happen in the beginning, because a lot of people they don't choose to pursue transformation because they don't know how to map from where they are to the transformation. So they just, oh, well, I don't know how that's going to happen, so I forget it. I'm not going to do it. But that's not really the thing that needs to happen up front. You actually have to determine in your mind that you actually want to get there. The pathway is going to be facilitated. It's going to be provided to you. You're going to get help with that, with people like Karen and people like some of the other folk that we've had on the show. You have to have some sense of awareness that causes you to say, "Hey, I don't want to be where I am. I want to be there." And now that I've made that decision, help me. And that's where Karen helps. David says, I never used to believe that how you spoke about yourself was so impacting, but recently I have been paying more attention, and it is so true. It's very true. What you think about yourself essentially is the thing that comes out of your pores and blankets everything that you do, right? It blankets the way you approach things. It blankets your level of confidence. It uh, blankets your motivation. It so many things that are uh, affected by what you say to yourself and what you do. I love it. So listen, from an entrepreneurial space, right? From a business standpoint, what were some things as you moved into this part of this business? What were some things from a business standpoint that you either had to do differently or you had to incorporate? Was there anything that changed in terms of how you do business and what you had to prepare for in terms of doing business successfully?
Being visible. Um, if you want your business to be successful, you have got to be visible.
Okay.
However, visibility is, you can network, you can do shows like this, you can do LinkedIn post or whatever kind of other post. You have to be visible though. And to be visible, you have to put yourself in a situation where basically, if you come from a corporate world, you're not used to selling yourself. You're not
Hmm.
used to talking about yourself.
Hmm.
And as a coach, yes, you have to share the stories of your clients and the successes they've had, but you've also got to show who you are. That is a huge step for some people to take.
Yeah, it is a
And
huge
for
step.
me, I've always been open and honest about what goes on in my life. I don't see any point in hiding it because at the end of the day, it's made me who I am. But for some people, even acknowledging that they've been through the experiences they've had is exceedingly hard. So they hide themselves. People don't connect with you if you hide yourself. So to have a successful business, you've got to be open and honest of who you are and to share your experiences. It doesn't matter what business you're in, people want to know people.
That's good. You got to get out there, and that kind of, I think that kind of speaks to Rhythm Maker's question: is there any way to find clients? Creative ways to find clients. Now, are you using visibility as a way to get clients as well?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I'm I used to do videos a lot. Due to an illness, well, basically I had a mental breakdown, a nervous breakdown at the beginning of the year,
Mm.
and my energy literally just disappeared. I had no energy in the physical sense to do them, but emotionally, I wasn't in the space to be energetically connecting. So I stopped doing them.
Okay.
It's taken me up till now to be willing to start redoing them. And visibility through video is something that will be appearing for me going forward. My LinkedIn posts are relevant. I share so much in my LinkedIn posts, not just about my life story, about my clients, but also what I've learned from my journey from whenever to now. So, visibility in whatever shape or form is vital. You have to use it to be able to attract the people to you who are going to be your clients, because they want to know that at the end of the day, you're the one that can help them because you have that ability to connect to their story.
Hmm.
A bit like you with your men, your life experiences will influence how you work with them. So my life experiences influence how I work with the women I work with.
Yeah, and I like that. The visibility piece for Rhythm Maker's question as well is vital. I would say also leverage LinkedIn. Leverage LinkedIn. LinkedIn has always been the place for that, but as of late has really become a place where you can leverage video, where you can leverage very targeted posts around what you do. I would also say have call to actions in everything that you do. Everything that you put out, have some kind of call to action about working with you, about contacting you, about having a conversation with you. The cold calling space, the cold emailing space is hit or miss.
Mm.
But if you do it effectively, the cold call and cold email space is also a volume based space. It's a game of numbers, right? So in order to meet the percentages, you have to have the numbers. So obviously, the larger amount of time you put into that, then the percentages coincide with that. Now, do you have the time to do that kind of thing? Maybe not. Or do you have a team to do that for you? Essentially, if you have somebody to do that, a virtual assistant or somebody like that who can do that for you, Rhythm Maker, that's a way to do that as well. Listen, I agree with Karen. The culture we are raised and cultivated in brings different experiences in our emotional bags, which we carry along with us. When we share them, we, as our story, we connect to somebody else's story. And here's the thing: people who know me know that I've said this quite often, and this is kind of a great segue into where we're going. I say this quite often in some meetings that I sit in every week called the Big Fix. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I tell individuals often that your story is going to be the thing that connects you to individuals, because you're going to hit two types of individuals with your story. You're going to hit people that resonate with the pain point that you express in your story, and you're going to also connect with people who feverishly want the transformation that you talk about in your story. So, in order for them to know that, you have to be willing to share that. And you can share pieces of that speak to very specific pain points, because that helps you to now narrow your target to those individuals who experience and can resonate with those pain points. And then now you are very clear about articulating the transformation that you went through and can now provide for someone else. So the person who's looking and saying, "Yep, that's exactly where I want to go." Now they see, okay, Karen can help me get there. Maybe I need to talk to her about that. And listen, there's a great place where you can find out all of these things that you can do in order to move the needle. So, excuse me, individuals like Rhythm Maker, you want to get some tips and some tools and some advice and some ideas. This show is sponsored by Love Entrepreneurs. And Love Entrepreneurs is a group of people dedicated to helping ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. And how do they do that? They do that with something called the Big Fix. The big fix is essentially an opportunity for you to sit in the hot seat, to talk about your business, to share your vision for your business, to talk about any pain points or challenges that you are experiencing, and to have a group of people literally pour ideas into you. I mean, pour ideas into you. So many ideas, in fact, that you get a written report of these ideas that is given to you at the end of the big fix, and it's free. Karen, you went through this, and I want to talk about your experience with the big fix in terms of you I don't want to gloss over what you said, right? You had a very significant experience early on in the year that just kind of took a little bit of life out of the journey, right? And it's important. I love that you're forthcoming about that, because here's what we want entrepreneurs to know. This journey is not always a bed of roses. It is not. There are going to be there are going to be some ups, there are going to be some downs, there are going to be some lulls, there are going to be some highs, there are going to be some lows. That's part of the journey. And I don't want to, I'm not saying that to scare anybody who's on the fence. I'm saying that to give you some realistic views into the life of an entrepreneur. It is a journey. Think about everything that could happen on a journey. I use this analogy so often, people are probably tired of hearing this, but you're going to hear it again. If I drive from Maryland to California, I cannot predict what's going to go along the way. I might have a phenomenal trip the whole way. Or something may happen very similar to what happened to me when I was driving from Maryland to Michigan. One year, several years ago, I was driving from Maryland to Michigan, and in Pennsylvania, my car caught on fire. That's a true story. I couldn't have predicted that when I left Maryland. I couldn't have prepared for it because I didn't predict it. But that doesn't mean that I don't, it doesn't mean that I just lay down on the ground in Pennsylvania and stay there for the rest of my life. I have a journey to continue to pursue. So I had to do what I had to do so that I could get to Michigan. And what I want you to do is take from Karen's experience that no matter what the pain is, that you can overcome it. You can build a business and you can fuel a passion around it, because that's what Karen did. And that's what many of us do that are on this entrepreneurial journey. Uh, Brent said LinkedIn Helper is a tool that I've been utilizing in the space to help make those contacts. So, Rhythm Maker, that's a good tool. Thank you for sharing that. Brent, thank you for sharing that. Georgia said, "Life is full of surprises. Surprises are full of life." I love that. Now, if that's not a tweetable quote. So, listen, Karen, we're going to get back into the big fix. Um, and by the way, for those of you who are interested, we're going to give you a way to just come and just view the big fix and just be a part of it. It's free. Now, I didn't mention that it's free. But after this short promo break, Karen, we're going to come back, talk about your experience with the big fix, and just have a little bit more conversation before we let you go. I'm trying to keep you for as long as possible, Karen, as long as I can. I'm trying to keep you. All right. So listen, after this break, we will be right back with more Karen Bashford.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena Lafferty and I'm a high performance coach focusing on intuition at the subconscious level, working with men and women who have become stuck in reverse. So today I was part of this wonderful meeting called Big Fix, and I absolutely loved it because the flow of ideas and suggestions and examples was amazing and have created so much information that I can use for my business. It was incredible. So I just can recommend it. If you ever need some help, this is the place to be. Thank you.
You heard what Elena said. This is the place to be. And the place that she's talking about is none other than Love Entrepreneurs, which is a group of individuals that help ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. You see the website on your screen if you want to learn more about Love Entrepreneurs. You can also look them up on Facebook. You can look them up on LinkedIn as well. It is a phenomenal group of individuals. I love hanging out with these guys. I love it because here, and let me tell you what I love about hanging out with these guys is that this is a group of individuals, excuse me, that that are they are there's no agenda other than to help each other move the needle in their business. That's it. Like nobody's trying to be greater than the other person. Nobody's trying to belittle the other person. Nobody's just in it for what they can get out of it. It's literally a group of people that when you put something on the table, everybody pounces on it. All right, let's figure this out. Okay, do this, do this. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes it's like drinking from a fire hose. You've experienced this big fix, uh, and I've experienced this big fix, but I want to hear a little bit more about your experience and what you got out of it.
Okay, my big fix was initially a way to get more clients because I stopped for 9 months. I literally stopped my business for 9 months, and it was, what do I do now? How do I get back in to creating more clients, more business for myself? That was the aim of it. But what actually happened was it was designing my business in the way it needed to be designed. It was already in place. I've been a coach for 15 years. So there wasn't anything behind me, but it wasn't necessarily working for me in the way it needed to anymore because I transformed myself and I needed help with how to put that across. And the folks on the big fix were phenomenal. The ideas they gave me, the input they gave, it was honest. It was, why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing that kind of thing? The big fix is about being honest with yourself. Because if you want a business that works, you've got to be aware of what you're blocking, what you're resisting, and what you're prepared to accept to go forward. And that's what the big fix did for me. It highlighted what I was resisting. It highlighted blocks that I actually had, but it also gave me a pathway forward, which has enabled me now to bring such a big picture to my business that it's managing to pull it all together and create what is right for me, but what is right for my clients. And that's what the big fix did.
I love it. I love it. And you articulated that so well. I don't know of anyone, and I'm not I'm hear me as God is my witness. I don't know of anyone that has gone through this process so far that I've talked to that has not come out with a similar reaction. Just like, man, so I went through it. I went through the process more than once. And each time it was like drinking from the fire hose because so many ideas came through, so many things I hadn't thought about, so many things that I actually had in my hand that I didn't realize the value of. They're like, "Hey, listen, bro, you're already doing this and this. Why aren't you using that for that?" I'm like, that's a great question. Like I don't I don't know. I never thought about and so I urge anybody who's listening, anybody whether you're listening now, you're watching now, or you're watching the replay, if you want to get ideas, if you want to expand your perspective around your business, if you want to just get around a group of people who can just share with you, give you some things that maybe you never thought about, or help you expand some things that you have thought about. Because here's the thing, it's not always that you get stuff that you never thought about. Sometimes it's, hey, I'm thinking about this, but I don't really know how to really execute on this. And they dive in and give you an execution strategy for that. And it is free. It is free for you to be in the hot seat. It is free for you to come participate and be a giver. It's Free. There's absolutely no catch. Now, in full transparency, once you get that report, because you get a report from Larry Koslet, who is the founder of Love Entrepreneurs. Once you get that report from her, there are opportunities for you to work with people in the team to help you execute, but you're not obligated to do that. You could take that report and just run with it and execute on your own, or you could take that report and work with individuals like myself, because a lot of people who want to do this kind of thing, go live and do more lives on LinkedIn and that kind of thing, they would come and work with me on how to get that and get your digital assets together and that kind of thing. But you don't have to. It is literally free. I have a guest. Matter of fact, I think Georgia was in the comments earlier. Georgia is going to be my guest tomorrow to come and observe and share as well. So listen, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to observe it, reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn, or send me a message on the other platforms that you might be watching this on, whether Facebook or YouTube, and we can get you in there to observe and to get in the hot seat in order to get some ideas and some expansion of your perspective around your business. That's the big fix. Love Entrepreneurs is the place to be. And listen, outside of the big fix, it's just a good group of folks.
Hmm.
Like, let's just be clear about that. It's a good group of people, man. I'm talking about great conversations. We do a business development thing that's centered around business and personal development. We do on Thursdays with phenomenal conversation. It's just a good group of folks, man. If you want to get around a good group of folks, you need to involve yourself in this. Georgia said, I know, can't wait. Love brainstorming. Hot seat and whipping up business ideas. That's right, Georgia. And Georgia is a great individual. So I know she's going to add so much value to whoever sits in the hot seat this week. So thank you, Georgia, for that. All right, let's get back to you, Karen. Karen is an intuitive mentor, coach, healer. The list goes on and on and on. She's got a whole bunch of experience. She knows what it's like to start a business, to build a business, to be on this life of an entrepreneur. I want to before, because we're coming down to the end of time. Unfortunately, I'm so sad. I wish I had a sad sound that I could play. I'm sad about this, but here's what I want to ask before we end. For your business in particular, what are some of the things that you have to do that allow you to be consistent? I know we talked about being visible. We talked about what has to happen mindset wise. Are there any daily tasks that you have to be intentional about doing?
Yes. One of the things is to hydrate. Your body is, or your body mind is 70% water.
Mm-hmm.
Regretfully, we tend to forget to drink. And yet your mind has, or your brain has, more water than anything else. So if you don't ensure it's hydrated, how's it going to function effectively? So I have to always ensure that I'm hydrated. One of the illnesses, unfortunately, I had was bladder cancer. And my body tends to tell me when I'm not hydrated enough. If you're lucky enough not to have had bladder cancer, you only have to listen to your body, look at your skin, sense how your body is reacting to know whether you're hydrated enough or not. So hydration is top of the list. The next thing I do on a regular basis, and this is generally daily, is exercise. If you exercise, you're making your body work better. I'm mind, body, soul, soul, body, mind. Everything has to connect, everything has to be aligned. So exercise ensures that my body is functioning effectively as well. If you think when you've done exercise how you feel, you're pumped up, you're ready to go. Exercise gives you motivation. It also allows your body to take in more oxygen because it's capable of working better. So, hydration, exercise, and having that action plan. What is it you're wanting to do on a daily basis to achieve? If I didn't have that action plan, I wouldn't know what I'm doing on a daily basis. It'd be hit and miss. And I like to work smart rather than harder. So by having the action plan, I know what I've got to achieve on a daily basis. But then I don't beat myself up because I don't achieve it, because there's no point in beating myself up. So that's what I do.
So I love that you started somewhere that I wasn't even thinking, that you started with your body and
Yeah.
the hydration piece and the exercise piece, because you are the business.
Mm,
So if you aren't operating correctly
mm,
or at your optimal level, then neither is anything that's attached to you. So I listen, you caught me off guard with that, but that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And then the action plan. I think the action plan thing is fantastic. And more importantly than the plan, not beating yourself up if you miss the mark on that action
mm,
plan. I think that is so phenomenal, because many of us, myself included, are guilty of just being like, man, I didn't get this one thing, two things done out of the seven things that I was supposed to do today. And instead of celebrating the seven things, I'm like feeling some kind of way about the two things. So I love that you said that. Brent in the comments said it sounds intimidating. I think he was referring to the big fix. Trust me, it it's not. Now, I full transparency, in the very beginning, you're like, okay, what's about to happen here? But very quickly into the
mm,
process, because of the group of people, nobody's fussing, nobody's berating you for what you haven't done and what you should be doing. You realize, wait a minute, this is a really safe environment. All right, cool, let's get to work. And you just
mm,
start allowing it all to wash over you. So it is a great experience. Like I said, I've done it more than once. If you want to see what it looks like, there's a live we do on Thursdays. And I think 2 weeks ago, I actually sat in the hot seat live just to do a little quick preliminary version of what it looks like. But yeah, if you don't want to just jump straight into hot seat, you can just come and watch, and you can be one of the people that's giving ideas, right? Just so that you see what it kind of looks like. That's what Georgie is going to be doing tomorrow. She's not sitting in the hot seat tomorrow. She's just coming to just contribute. So you can also do that as well. But that's good, Karen. Going back to what you were saying about what you do, and I think it's important that in this life of an entrepreneur, there are some things that we must be intentional about being consistent with, because they're paramount to the success of not only our business, but the success of who we are as
mm,
people. And you guys are in the group with us, so you hear me say this all the time. In order to be a successful business person, you need to be a great business person. You got to be a great person. So we also do some work in the group on really what's happening with the alignment between head and heart, what's happening, like you said, with hydration, different things that we don't think about initially when we're talking about scaling or moving the needle in our business. We're thinking about advertising and marketing and this and that and getting a team. And I'm not saying none of those things are not great. They're phenomenal. But I love that you started from the baseline. Get your mind right, get your body in order, make sure that you're consistent in those ways, and you'll do well. My boy Damon is in the comments. Your body is your greatest asset. Indeed. I was always told you should spend at least 10% of your income on your health and body maintenance. And then now I forgot. I got this right, and now I forgot it. So I'm going to try it again. Akanksha. I might have messed it up. Says Karen, thanks for the hydration tip. And it all starts within because within is where all things begin. See, Karen? That's why I brought Karen on here. Karen knows how to remind us about the things that are important. Because I'm going to be honest, when I asked you that question, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking Karen's going to give us some great, networking advice and this and that. And she was like, nope, you got to drink some water, bro. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, let me ask you one quick question because I've kept you over time. So I'm going to be quick now. One quick question. When you first started and you first started getting clients, is there any way that you celebrated? Like, did you do anything to be like, yay, we're here now?
Regretfully, no. However, now there's a yes. Because you're embodying
Indeed.
that feeling of success. And that's what it's
Yes.
all about. You're acknowledging, I have succeeded. And it's a beautiful feeling. So, yes.
That's good. I love it. And we should all celebrate. Listen, that's a lesson for everybody out there. Celebrate the wins, celebrate the benchmarks, celebrate the process, celebrate all aspects of the journey, right? Right? Because I'm going to use my driving example again. If I'm driving from Maryland to California, I'm not just going to be all of a sudden happy when I get in California. I'm going to see some stuff in Virginia. Oh, wow, that's cool. Or I'm going to stop in Colorado. Man, this is crazy. Look at the mountains. Like, enjoy the process, enjoy all aspects of the journey. Georgia said another alive and live show. Oliver and Karen, thank you. Georgia, thank you for being here. Listen, Karen, before we let you go, two things I need you to do. One, can you give some advice to two types of people? First group of people is those who are on the fence about entrepreneurship. Give them some advice that may cause them to make the leap. And then the second group of people are people in the coaching space that are looking to move the needle. What advice do you have for them?
If you're looking to come into entrepreneurship, is it something you're doing because you know you're going to be passionate about it? Or are you doing it just for the sake of the money or what you perceive to be the kind of income you can make? Two separate ways of looking at things. If you're just coming in for the money, it's probably not going to work for you because you work twice as hard for the same kind of money at times. If you're already in the entrepreneurship arena and you're looking to up your game, choose the right people to support you. The support you need is vital. You cannot manage on your own. The Big Fix is a brilliant way of starting. Love Entrepreneurship or Love Entrepreneur is another phenomenal group of people that will support you. You have to have the support though. Don't try and do everything on your own. It does not work.
That's good. That's good. That's a great place to end. Listen, Karen, how can folk get in touch with you if they want to get a hold of you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. That'd be great. More than welcome
Or
to connect with me.
connect with Karen on LinkedIn. If you can't find her for some reason or another, I don't know why you wouldn't, but you can go to my page and to this post, and you'll see that she is tagged there as well. You can connect with Karen on LinkedIn. Karen is a wealth of knowledge. Karen is an encourager. Karen is a motivator. Karen is a transformational coach. You want to connect with her. Damon said, in the military, the first thing you do in the morning is make your bed. It seems small, but if nothing else in your day goes well, at least you know you succeeded in the very first thing you did for the day. So it's not a failure. I love that, Damon, man. That is excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Akanksha said, thank you guys. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you to all of you that have been in the comments. Karen, I'm going to put you in the back just for a second so I can wrap this up. Don't go anywhere because I want to say thank you to you again. But listen, it has been my pleasure to have you as my guest.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll talk in just a moment. All right. Listen, that was Karen Bashford. I told you she was going to be great. I told you she was going to have a lot of great things to say. And I was right. I love being right. Listen, this is the life of an entrepreneur. And we said it already throughout this, enjoy the journey. We talked about a lot of things today. So if you need to go back and get some notes all the way back to the beginning where we were talking about emphasizing empathy and understanding and leading by example and encouraging diverse viewpoints, all the way to hydrating yourself and making sure that there are some things that you are doing to your body and to your mind that will ultimately align with your success in your business. Remember, you can catch up with Karen on LinkedIn. Make sure that you're connecting with her. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, or any of the other platforms that you are watching this on today. Thank you to so many people that were in the comments, so many people who have watched today. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and put in the comments that you're watching the replay, because we want to acknowledge you as well. As always, life is a journey. Entrepreneurship is a journey. Make sure that you are intentional about enjoying the journey. This has been another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. I'm Oliver Marcel. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.